Hi, everyone. My name's Haley Osborne, and today I'm going to be doing my Breaking the Walls podcast. Um, at some points, I'm going to share my screen, but since this is supposed to be like an informal presentation, I'm not really going to do that. So let's get started. Okay. So the first topic of discussion in this podcast is what is my CTE track. My CTE track is Business, Finance, and Information Technology. I've already taken the praxis test on that in November 2018 before I graduated. And after I finished this class, because I've been focusing my ED TPA portfolio on marketing, so I can learn all about marketing, I'm going to take the practice test for business marketing education. So hopefully I'll be able to teach marketing because that is way more fun than accounting and finance. As much as I know about them, it's boring. So career opportunities, interested in this track. There are so many career opportunities. I've listed like kind of an exhaustive list. Business management, information technology, finance, insurance, sales, marketing, hospitality management, human resources, recruiting, supply chain management, government jobs, like economic analysis, and entrepreneurship. But there's such a wide range of opportunities for students because if you think about it, our lives revolve around business processes. Our lives revolve around making money, unfortunately. And how do we make money? You work for a business, or you start your own business, or you become a public servant, or you're born into wealth. And then even if you're born with money, you still need to have the knowledge to invest and maintain that wealth. So these courses in business, finance, information technology, marketing, they all kind of intertwine with basically what our lives revolve around. Our economy. So how has the CTE field evolved over time? If you really want to go way back in the early 1800s, apprenticeships were really big. It was mainly served to younger boys. Women were trained, or girls were trained to teach. So even in the 1800s, there was still a focus on the workforce. And when kids were going to school, more so a long time ago, people were focused on getting kids ready for the workforce and not just teaching them science and math and making sure they had a general education. So it was different back then. And then in the late 1800s, the workforce and public education system started to work together to prepare students for certain jobs in the workforce. Vocational schools began to emerge, and then those trained students specifically for trades and jobs. So you had different schools emerging in the late 1800s and early on in the 20th century. So, and then what happened, World War I happened, and adults coming back from the war needed training in specialized areas. So that's when you started to see vocational training come about to the older population. And World War II caused an increase in, World War II created an increased need for specialized workers to go into the war, and also women had to take on factory jobs. So that was something that was needed, and these women needed special training. So vocational training, vocational schools, classes, those started to emerge during World War II. In the 1980s and 1990s, schools were emerging to prepare students in vocational fields still. These schools were known as career academy schools. Not only did these schools prepare students for success in the workforce, they also prepared students for success in higher education. So in this time period, the 80s and the 90s, technology created a shift in the way that the U.S. viewed technical education and the needs of society and its students. I highly recommend, I forgot what the name, I can look it up really quick. Hold on. Give me a second. There's a Netflix show. I think it's just called, there's different episodes. It's like the 80s, the 90s. So hold on, the 90s. Hold on. Oh, this is gonna be hard to find. I don't know. I don't have time for this, but anyway, if you go on Netflix, I'm gonna have to find that one. Netflix show about the 90s. If I look it up like that. No. It all happened in the 90s. It's not a mini series. The 90s and the 80s. It's a really cool episode, and let me see if I found it. I wonder if I'll share my screen whenever this decides. Here it is. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. Where's my Zoom thing? All right. Sorry, I never did Skype, so I feel like this is like it's hard for me to. Have I been sharing my screen this entire time? I don't think so. Okay, now I'm sharing my screen. Okay. So you see right here, it says the 80s. Well, you can go to episodes. Okay, so I guess the 90s is its own. Okay. Okay, so it's its own show. Okay, so it is its own mini series. So it's like you go to the one about TV.
TV is changing dramatically now with 150 channels that might be available.
The Information Age. I think this is the one I watched. Yes. Okay. You guys need to watch this. Season 1, episode 6, the 90s on Netflix, called The Information Age. It is, if you were like me and you were born in 1995 and you had no idea what was going on in this time period, I mean, it's really beneficial. Let's see. Take a minute. Yeah, this is when Microsoft came out. So you can see Jennifer Aniston and Matthew Perry are like on the cover of the software.
All of the employees
So
of
cool.
Microsoft
And then it goes over
party in a tent over there on the Microsoft campus. And guess what?
when Bill Gates was being inquired by the U.S. government, and it was like a hot mess. Is that Bill Gates? Yeah, that's Bill Gates. He got pads and face. It's crazy. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I just wanted you guys to see that because it kind of gives you an overview of what happened in the 90s and what shift caused our economy to kind of proliferate and really advance on such a large scale. Okay, here's my outline. I'm not gonna share my screen anymore. I'm not reading straight off of this or anything. Oh my goodness, this is driving me crazy. Okay, you know what? Whatever. I'm just gonna share my screen. You guys can see what I wrote. No, I don't want to end this meeting. Okay. So, okay. You know, the Carl D. Perkins Act, it was refined like 4 different times. In 1984, it sought to regain credibility for vocational education in 2 ways: focus on the need for the nation to improve its workforce productivity, for major improvements in the quality of education programs. This is 1984. Sought to address the needs of students who had previously been denied proper vocational education services and to correct such wrongdoings. The Carl D. Perkins Vocational Act of 1990, Perkins 2, it included a variety of academic work skills, and it required that CTE classes required a variety of academic and work skills, not merely the specific skills needed to perform a job function. And this was when all of that stuff happened with Microsoft, and that software came out, and people were like, whoa, technology is getting really big. It's really affecting the workforce. We need these skills. The National School to Work Opportunities Act of 1994 emphasized partnerships among educators and employees, which I think is super important, and I don't think we have enough of it today. In 1998, Carl Perkins 3, working with disadvantaged and other special populations, was an area of interest that needed to be addressed. It required states to provide data regarding student aptitude, secondary education, completion, post-secondary or military service completion, and other forms of job training completion. So they were trying to get information to see if schools were actually adhering to these policies. In 2006, the Carl D. Perkins CTE Act. The new act will provide an increased focus on the academic achievement of career and technical education students, strengthening the connections between secondary and post-secondary education, and improve state and local accountability. So basically in 2006, the focus was on making sure that kids were prepared for higher education, so that they were able to build on what they had learned previously in their secondary education. On July 31st, 2018, the president signed into law the Reauthorization Act of 2006. The new law, strengthening career and technical education for the 21st century, was passed almost unanimously by Congress. The latest reauthorization includes 3 major areas of revision, using the term career and technical education instead of vocational education, maintaining the tech prep program as separate federal funding, maintaining state administrative funding at 5% of the state's allocation, which I think is great. The new law includes requirements for programs of study that link academic and technical content across secondary and post-secondary education, and it strengthened the local accountability provisions that will ensure continuous program improvement. So here are some questions I'm supposed to answer, and they are of my opinion. Is it damaging for CTE to be fragmented? Why or why not? For this context in public school CTE. Okay, so if a student is going to pursue a college degree after high school, I do not think that it's an issue that it is fragmented. So many other subjects such as English and math and science, they connect, and they kind of provide students with a building block to become successful in college when they take a course such as economics, which is very, very statistics heavy and it's math heavy. So if students are unfamiliar with slope-intercept form and they take an economics class, macroeconomics especially, they're going to start freaking out and they're not going to understand what is going on. So I think it's very important for students to make sure that they are well versed in, you know, their general education curriculum so that they can be successful when they take these vocational classes in college. That being said, if students are not taking these classes, or if students are going to college, that could be a problem. And I think everyone needs to go to college. But if they're just going straight out of high school and they want to go work for a bank, if they want to go into management for a company, say they got a promotion to become an assistant manager after they've been working at KFC for 5 years. You know, that kind of stuff, that those kind of things do happen for students, and they don't have the opportunity to go to school. So I definitely think it's an issue. And I think students should at least understand business processes before they graduate high school for that reason. Just for the students that don't necessarily want to go to college or can't, and they're going into roles where they need this information and it's vital for them to become successful. Second question: what are some strategies I can use to inform outsiders, both in your school building and outside of it, about CTE opportunities? I think the interdisciplinary letter that we just wrote, I think is a good idea. I did mine, and I focused on resume building and making a resume. And I wrote my letter to an English teacher, excuse me, And I thought that was really beneficial to try to partner with, people in the school to enhance the learning of students in the CTE classroom. I think like DECA, FBLA, organizations like that. I think that reaching out to other businesses and kind of creating connections and opportunities for engagement and communication between those clubs and those students with community leaders and business leaders. That's a good way to inform outsiders of the CTE opportunities that are available to students. Okay, so part 3. Yes, I do have some resources. I'm already sharing my screen. What critical issue did I uncover? There is right now there's a skills gap in the U.S. economy right now, and businesses, there's so many jobs available, the businesses are unable to fill these positions with qualified candidates, and it's a huge problem for businesses. So let's take a look at, and I already touched on this in one of my other classes. I'm kind of just going over this again for those of you that might not have viewed my video in 5660 or may not have or may not be taking 5660. I'm quickly going to go over this PowerPoint that I made. Let me see what I need to go over first. Factors to this issue. CTE stress, managing personal opinions. Why is that important? Steps. Okay. All right. I'm not going to go over all of this. This is very important. Okay. So Corporate Citizen magazine thinks that by 2020, 77% of jobs will require technology skills, and there will be more than 1 million more computing jobs than applicants to fill them. It's 1 million jobs. The talent gap is visible in the following trades: middle skilled jobs and high skilled STEM jobs. And in these areas of the economy, these are the most lacking skills: data analytics, science, engineering, healthcare, carpentry, plumbing, welding, machining, and manufacturing. Talent gap. So like I stated earlier, there's 6.7 million jobs open in the United States. Nearly a quarter of those jobs are in the construction industry, and more than 450,000 jobs are in the manufacturing sector. And it's not easy to get a job in the manufacturing sector. I was originally a supply chain management major, and I'd switched it to economics and then to management, and I can't get a job in supply chain management. They want somebody with a supply chain management degree to take on these manufacturing jobs. They need somebody who is skilled, and they want proof that you're skilled in that area. And I was a part of the club, the supply chain management club. Nope. 940,000 available jobs in the hospitality industry. And education and health services industry, there are 1.27 million jobs left unfilled. So here's a poll done by Adecco Staffing. This kind of just reiterates on the skills gap from the Society for Human Resource Management, what they thought. It's just proof that this really is an issue, and that 500 executives were surveyed, and finance, hospitality, construction, healthcare, engineering, technology, and manufacturing were sectors of the economy that they thought were most affected by the skills gap. And then you just see a pattern there, and you see people giving out the same answers. So what people are doing, what companies are doing, they are investing in community partnerships, and they're investing in high school students. And see, Akamai Technologies provides a 7-week immersion program for students, and they're a cloud delivery platform and computing platform. So they take students and they give them a dorm rooms, and they provide them with you know, an area, and they have a campus. They provide them with all of the materials and training necessary to be successful in their business. And they're also taking people who are interested in working for their company, and they're giving them a 12-month training session. So what can we do as instructors? Assess the needs of the students, figure out what their passions and interests are and their aptitude and ability, create activities that allow students to imagine themselves in these work roles and provide them with experiences, resources, and role models that inspire them, partner with community organizations, and provide hands-on opportunities for students to gain experience in these fields. One thing that I found, which is it's so beneficial, it's a book, and you can find it on the Belk Library. I'm going to open it up and kind of show you some things in it. But it's called College and Career Readiness, A Guide for School Counselors. And let me show you what it is. Where did it go? No, the stupid things in my way. Okay. So it provides career readiness all the way back to elementary school. And it provides templates, and it explains why it's so important, lesson plans, individual learning plans. We can use these in the classroom for our students to help kind of guide them in the direction of, you know, understanding what is needed to become successful in the workplace and where their strengths and weaknesses are, and what it would be like for them to prepare for a role, and what it would be like for them to be in a certain work role. And this provides them with the skills needed to get to where they want to be. This is for 6th grade, study skills, time management, and balance. These are lesson plans just given to you. And this is an assignment completion of students' My Typical Day worksheets. Create a pie chart to show how you spend your typical day. Be sure to include portions for school, sleep, eating, fun and friends, homework, exercising, practice for sports, and other activities. That's really cool. College and career readiness in high school, since most of us are going to be teaching high school. Do an overview. Oh, why? It's taking so long to load. Okay. Pre-graduation needs assessment. Students will indicate their understanding and completion of major tasks required for a successful transition to life beyond high school. And ask them questions, and they rate it on a scale of 1 to 5. It makes them realize, like, am I ready for this? What do I need to do to get ready for this? How do I plan? It gets them thinking. It gets them prepared, and it kind of increases a sense of urgency. What grade was that? 9 through 12. Grades 9 through 12. And increasing that sense of urgency can kind of push them in the direction to, and it can kind of motivate them to gain the skill set for where their strengths are, and just to make sure that they're fully equipped to enter the workforce. But yeah, so you see, I just want everyone to understand what this is and how beneficial it is. So you go on to Belk Library, you type in College and Career Readiness, A Guide for School Counselors, and you use this book to help your students gain understanding of what skills are needed for them to become successful in the workforce, and for you to understand why students, or how to prepare students to develop these skills. That's very important. So, yep, that's my podcast. Thanks for listening, everyone.